Harry and Helena were secretly spotted last night in central London, together, just days after their explosive breakup on national television. Multiple eyewitnesses confirmed they were seen holding hands while exiting a private members club in Mayfair at 2:17 a.m., sparking intense rumors of a possible off-camera reconciliation. A leaked voice note circulating online appears to contain Harry whispering, "I never stopped thinking about her." The authenticity of the clip is unverified, but fans are already dissecting every second. Adding fuel to the fire, Helena's management unfollowed her on Instagram hours later, and her official fan page mysteriously went offline. Meanwhile, a popular Love Island insider account claimed Helena canceled a major post-show interview at the last minute, citing personal entanglements. To heighten speculation further, both were separately spotted boarding flights to Ibiza this morning, on the same airline, 20 minutes apart. Harry and Helena were both sitting quietly in the villa garden as the late afternoon sun draped warm amber light across the terracotta tiles. They had not spoken since the crumbling finale last night, yet everyone felt the tension between them. Helena glanced across the low hedge at Harry, noticing the flicker of emotion there. Surprise, vulnerability, regret. She had held her head high when she left him, but in her heart she felt uneasy, restless. Losing him stung more sharply than she had anticipated. She had spent the whole flight home questioning whether her decision had been right. Harry, meanwhile, had felt a hollow emptiness the moment she walked away. He replayed every argument, every silent stretch of time between them in the hot villa. He couldn't erase the memory of her in the hideaway, the soft curve of her shoulder as they'd whispered in the dark. He knew he had hurt her deeply by not being brave enough to admit his feelings. He cleared his throat. Across the hedge, Helena stiffened but did not look away. "When you wake up in the morning," he said, voice barely above a whisper, "and you realize you made the biggest mistake," her breath caught. "I need you to know," he continued, "I never stopped caring. I never stopped thinking about how we were better together." He paused, his palms pressed flat to steady himself. "Not just because of chemistry. Yes, there's that. But because you make me better. You make me want to be brave." Helena stared at him as if seeing his face for the first time. The same heart-shaped jaw, the same steady gaze softened by regret. A trembling in her chest told her she'd missed him even after everything that had happened. Harry stepped around the hedge and walked toward her. He didn't reach out yet, wanted her to choose whether to let him close. "I understand why you left," he said quietly. "I wasn't there for you. I didn't make you feel safe, and that's on me." His voice cracked slightly. "I was selfish, Helena, and I let everything slip past me. Except you." Tears shimmered in Helena's eyes. She looked away, blinking them back. "I forced you away," she whispered. "I had to, because I couldn't trust that I mattered as much as you mattered to your pride. It hurt, Harry." Harry swallowed hard. "Then let me show you I've changed. I'm learning, slowly but truly." They stood in silence a moment, the villa's hum fading behind them. Wordlessly, Helena reached out and let Harry take her hand. The warmth of his palm grounded her, invited her to trust him again. Over the next days, they learned to speak freely and honestly again. There were awkward afternoons when they stumbled over small remembrances, his misplaced jokes, her hesitant laughter, and by evening they'd sit side by the pool, heads bent together, leaning in. Instead of hiding behind deflection, they asked each other the hard questions. Helena: "Why didn't you stand by me when I was open about my feelings?" Harry: "Fear. I was afraid of being vulnerable. I thought I'd lose my standing in the villa if I seemed too in love." Helena: "And I pushed you because I was scared you'd hurt me again." Harry: "I won't." They didn't try to recreate the spark from before. Instead, they let a new bond take shape, one rooted in understanding and committed to accountability. One evening, Harry took Helena to the rooftop over the villa. Lantern light flickered across white cushions. They shared headphones, listening to a playlist they'd put together. Songs that reminded them of the villa, of late-night conversations, of the growl of laughter when they let themselves be silly together. They paused at one song, Helena's favorite, a soft acoustic track with haunting melody. She rested her head on his shoulder. Harry wrapped an arm around her and kissed her temple. There were no fireworks, only the gentle promise that they could try again, differently. In the days that followed, they went for long walks on the beach at dawn, collecting sea glass and talking about the things they took for granted. They revisited small wonder, the sunrise turning liquid gold across the tide, the thump of the waves and the salt air lulling them into laughter at nothing. Harry began cooking breakfast for both of them, oat bowls topped with fresh fruit, toast with a soft center egg. He made it awkwardly at first, spilling orange juice and laughing when Helena teased him. But she ate every bite, smiling, and the routine became theirs. They practiced saying, "I'm sorry," and actually feeling it. Harry apologized when he snapped at her out of stress. Helena apologized when she shut him out in frustration. Neither withheld forgiveness anymore. There was a moment when Helena slipped on a jagged shell and twisted her ankle. Harry picked her up, carried her back to their little villa. She winced with every step. He cradled her at the door, fetched cold water, massaged her ankle gently. She watched his face, closing her eyes gratefully as he fussed over her. And she realized how deeply she cared, for how much she wanted him in her life. Then came the turning point, the recoupling party. They arrived holding hands, a quiet knowing between them that this time they wouldn't let fear dictate. The villa lights glowed around them. The islanders stared. When asked who they'd choose to couple with, they looked at each other and spoke the names. Each other. Gasps and cheers all around. At first, not everyone applauded. Some looked surprised. Others whispered, but they stood together. Helena's eyes glinted with determination, and Harry's with relief, as if a weight was lifted. That night, under palm fronds and string lights, they sat alone and spoke about future possibilities. "How do we handle this going forward?" Helena asked. "With honesty," he said, "with patience, with respect." They made no grand promises, no declarations foreshadowing a wedding, but simple ones, to communicate daily, to keep jealousy and pride in check, to trust the other's intentions, to try. On the last day of the show, they walked along the terrace just before sunset. Other islanders were packing up. There were waves of goodbye hugs, laughter, tears. Harry stopped and held Helena's hands in his. "Whatever happens next," he said, voice steady, honest, "I want to call you after we leave. I want to learn who you are outside this villa and for you to learn me." Helena nodded, blinking rapidly. "I'd like that too." They kissed at dusk. As the sun dipped beyond the horizon, the sky streaked rose and amber. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. When they exited, the crowd cheered. Cameras panned overhead. They clutched each other's hands, half laughing, half crying. Outside the villa gates, they were scheduled for interviews. Helena hugged Harry. In front of cameras, their eyes met. They nodded. They'd been through shocks, heartbreak, separation, and they were standing together, stronger, changed, willing to try again. That night, back in a quiet hotel room, they ordered takeout and ate on the balcony. The city lights sparkled. They chatted about mundane things, favorite food, music, childhood summers. They created new memories outside the villa walls. They didn't claim they were fixed. Instead, they acknowledged they'd been hurt. They'd hurt each other. But they were choosing to rebuild together, carefully, consciously. In the weeks that followed, their social media hinted at a slow, genuine continuation. Pictures of coffee dates, walks in parks, working out together, sharing playlists, attending events side by side. They looked content, thoughtful, connected. Friends spoke of how differently they seemed, calm, measured, affectionate, not for show, but because they seemed grateful. Occasionally, a headline speculated, "Are Harry and Helena back?" They posted a joint photo from a countryside road trip, Helena leaning into Harry with a sly smile, and used a caption, "Let's see where the road takes us, together for now." It wasn't a fairy tale announcement, but for them it was the real moment, recognition that they'd chosen one another again. Eventually, in a candid interview, they admitted the truth. Helena: "We broke because I felt unseen. Harry wasn't communicating what mattered to me." Harry: "And I shut down because I was scared of appearing vulnerable. I put pride before our connection." Helena: "Now, I ask to be seen. And I try to see him too." Harry. "We're learning to meet each other in every moment." They didn't promise forever, they didn't proclaim perfection, but they offered something deeper, an emotional maturity, willingness to grow together, and gratitude for a second chance. By the end of 2025, they moved into a small flat in London and spent weekends in between projects rediscovering each other beyond screens. There were silent mornings with baked goods and muted sunbeams, evenings spent talking about family, fears, hopes. They became each other's person, slowly, thoughtfully. That year, they flew to Athens together, walking cobblestone streets, eating fresh figs and cheese by the sea. Helena sat with her head on Harry's shoulder. He pressed a kiss to the top of her head and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, but real. In letters to the press, they said, "We fell. We hurt. But we tried again, because each day felt better when we were in it together." And for Harry and Helena, that was what mattered most. Not public adoration or viral drama, but the truth that they were learning to be brave. And together.